Hey everyone, welcome back to the series. Or if you're new here, my name's Kane Mullings, part of the Azure Business Development team here at Ingram Micro. This is your go-to spot for quick, powerful Azure tips that turn cloud knowledge into real results. Today, we're diving into something that every single Azure user needs to be aware of, but very few think about until it's too late. Azure Backups. Now, it might not sound exciting, but let's face it, when things go wrong, it's the only thing that matters. So let's break it down and make it simple. So what exactly is Azure Backup? Think of it as your cloud safety net, always there when things go wrong. Whether your server crashes, critical files accidentally deleted, or if you're unfortunately hit with a ransomware attack, Azure Backup steps in to protect your data and help you recover quickly. It's a reliable, built-in solution that helps keep your business running even when the unexpected happens. It's automated, it's secure, it works with virtual machines, SQL databases, files, on-premises, and much, much more. Now, whether you're a small business or a huge enterprise, if you're not backing up your data, then you're essentially walking a tightrope without a safety net. So let's dive into a quick demonstration of the Azure Business Continuity Center and walk through how to get an Azure Backup up and running in just a few minutes. Like I mentioned, whether it's a system failure, accidental deletion, or a ransomware attack, this is your frontline defense for keeping your business resilient. So let's head over to the Azure portal for a quick demonstration. So as you can see here, we're in the Azure portal. To get here, you're going to head to portal.azure.com in a web browser. If you're new here, I'd recommend checking out my first video where we cover getting started with the Azure portal and we run through some of the basics. So in the top search bar, in the global search bar, we're going to search for Business Continuity Center. You can see it comes up here. And then this is essentially where we're going to manage our backups from. So if we look on the left here under Protection Inventory, you can see two items, and one of them is protectable resources. And this is the resources that are available to be backed up. So you can see here I've got a machine called AVD VM2. And then in protected items is the items that have been backed up already. So I've got one VM that's been backed up, AVD VM1. So in this demonstration, what I'm going to do is do a backup on AVD VM2. So both VM1 and 2 are both in protected items, both being backed up. So what we're going to do is in the overview page of the Continuity Center, we're going to go for configure protection. Once you're in this page, Azure is essentially going to ask you two things. Where is your workload running? In our case, we've got Azure. And then what is it that you want to back up? And then also in this case, we've got Azure Virtual Machines. And then we've got Azure Backup for the solution. So we'll go continue. So next is asking the data source type. So again, we're going to go for virtual machines, and then it's asking for a recovery services vault. So if you've not got a vault created already, you can create a vault like so. So we'll go to recovery services vaults. And then you can create a vault in here. You can just go review and create, pick the subscription, which resource group it's going to go in, and the name of the vault, and then you can use that one. Essentially, a recovery services vault is a specialized container, and it holds all of your backup data and manages things like policies. It manages recovery points and job monitoring, all from one place. So go back into the Business Continuity Center, and then back through the configure protection. Azure Virtual Machines, and then we're going to select our recovery services vault. So as you've seen earlier, we've got two, so we're going to select this one, which is where the virtual machine sits, and then we'll go continue. So after you've chose the recovery services vault, you're going to be on the configure page. So at the top here, we've got the policy subtype. So this is essentially between two options, enhanced or standard, and it shows you the difference in the options here. So we've got enhanced. We've got the backup policy, which is essentially which policy subtype that you've got selected here. So if you select standard, it'll be default policy, and enhanced is an enhanced policy. And you can also create a new policy and set a retention policy. So the retention of the daily backups, weekly, and you can set all that custom in there. So the frequency, start time, schedule, etc. At the bottom here, we've got the details of the retention policy that we've got selected at the minute. So we've got the enhanced policy with backup frequency every 4 hours. And at the bottom here, we're going to select what it is that we're going to actually back up. So if we go add, and then as I mentioned earlier, we're going to do a backup on AVD VM2. So both VM1 and 2 are both backed up. So you select OK, does a quick validation. It should add it down here into the basket kind of thing. There we go. And then in the bottom left, you can just simply go enable backup. So now that's in progress. In my first video, I mentioned how you can use notifications to track deployment progress of deployments. So if you're working on multiple different projects and you're trying to find one of your deployments, you can use the notifications pane here, and it'll show you the deployment in progress. You can go to the resource from there. So what we'll do is we'll let that deployment progress. Once it's complete, we'll come back and then we'll show you the final steps. So as you can see here, just a couple of minutes later, the deployment is now completed. So from this page, you can go to the resource, or you can use your notifications pane to go to the resource as well. So if we go to the resource from the deployment, it'll take you to the recovery services vault. What we're looking at here is the business continuity center. So if we go into the center, and then as I showed you earlier, we've got under protection inventory, we've got protectable resources and protected items. So now we should have 2 VMs in protected items. Now to verify that everything's working, we're going to go to the backup page of the virtual machine. So if we go AVD VM2, the one that we just backed up, and here on the left we've got backup and disaster recovery. So if we go into the backup page, and essentially we're just going to trigger a backup here in the top left. So if we go backup now, okay, and then that's just going to trigger a backup for the virtual machine, and that should rectify this warning here of the initial backup pending. So this is just basically waiting for the first backup, and it'll put in here succeeded with the time and the timestamp of when the backup was and when it took the snapshots. So that's pretty much it really. Just like that, your Azure Backup is up and running, it's active, and it's protecting your workloads. So the Business Continuity Center makes it as simple as it gets really. It makes it easy to manage, monitor and scale your backup and recovery efforts, all from a single pane of glass here in the Business Continuity Center. Don't forget, Azure Backup is only as valuable as your ability to restore. So test your recovery processes regularly and you'll be ready for whatever comes your way. So that is it really. Azure Backup is super simple, it's super easy, super powerful, and it saves your bacon when things go sideways. So I hope you found this video useful. Feel free to drop a like, drop any questions that you've got in the comments, any ideas that you've got for any future videos, feel free to drop those down below as well. I'll be more than happy to take those into consideration. Thanks for watching everyone. Stay backed up and hopefully I'll see you in the cloud.